Hi friends, my name is Megan and welcome to episode 121 of A Knotty Mess Knitting Podcast. Well, happy Thanksgiving or belated Thanksgiving to all who celebrate. I am filming at 9 o'clock at night on Thursday, the 27th of November, which is Thanksgiving this year. I'll tell you why towards the end. What wasn't my plan last week? I was going to have family over. There were going to be things, but I decided to just film on Thursday to get it done, and so I can edit on Friday and do some other things. So, yeah. Anywho, let's go on to all the things. Hi, if you're new here. My name is Megan, and I am a mostly knitter and sometimes crocheter and used to be cross stitchers, kind of fallen by the wayside this year. Also handspin yarn. I am a fiber enthusiast and I live in the Pacific Northwest with my husband Mike, our daughter Theo, our dog Winter, and my mom Cindy. And I usually cover like the normal knitty podcast type things where I talk about what I'm wearing, whips, new cast-ons, new project plans, acquisitions. Oh, okay. I've got one finished object this week. I have progress on stuff. I've got a spin update, and I have so many acquisitions. So pre-order stuff. So not anything that was surprising to you because I never tell what I'm going to order at a pre-order, but not surprising. I think that it's coming because I told you I was ordering for pre-order. So anyway, we'll discuss those. And yes, let's go forth. I don't think that this will be a super long episode because it's 9 o'clock at night and I'm tired. And I'm tired for more reasons than just that it's 9 o'clock at night. So we'll talk about that also at the end. Let us go forth. First, what I'm wearing. I don't think I've worn this since January of this year when I finished it. This is I guess I finished in December. This is the Dornie sweater. This is a pattern by Rebecca Clow, who is the Crayabea. And I put this on my Make 9 last year. Okay, and I will tell you some details about it, but I really love this sweater, and I do grab it. I wore it like last week, I think, and then when I was looking back on because I don't have any new finished objects, like what I haven't worn in a while on a podcast, I was like, oh, the Dornie, and it's so fab. So let's talk a little bit about this one because this was a totally influenced knit. Okay, first, so let's do sizing. I made a size 5, so it should have been 46 inches. It is 46 inches. It's, I have a picture up here, I think, probably of myself. Sorry, there's like a lot of noise happening in my house, even though it's 9 o'clock at night. Okay, I've got all my measurements on Ravelry, but like it is pretty true to size. I don't think I made a lot of adjustments. I didn't really put anything in here for like modifications. I don't think I modified it that much. I think I did, maybe length or whatever, but it's 12.5 inches from underarm. So all the things you'd expect. Now, why I say it was knit-fluenced is because this is made out of, this is a special part of this. This is an Aran weight pattern. I think some of the samples that Rebecca did were like maybe Cascade 220 held with a mohair or a Surrey. And then there were a couple like other Aran adjacent yarns. This I decided to use Paisley Knits Cloud, which is their bulky base, and it is a blown tube yarn. And let me tell you the specifics of it. It is 70% alpaca, 23% nylon, and 7% merino. And I think probably a lot of the nylon is like how it's blown into the tube, but the alpaca and merino, or maybe the merino is part of the tube, I don't really know, but it's blown into the tube, and not just like where you can see the blown tube like you can with like this, where it's like a cotton blown tube and you have merino blown in it. It still mostly looks like a cotton tube with like a little bit of fuzz. This is really different. Let me see if I have that. I have an extra skein somewhere. Here, I have a partial next to me where you can see that it is still that blown tube construction, but let me pull some out. You can kind of see the tubing of it, but the whole thing is like, because maybe the tube is nylon, whatever it is, it dyes more seamlessly. And so like, it doesn't have that same like look that this kind of yarn does. Like this is Cascade Cantata. Okay. Just so we're clear on the differences here. This is something that, a sample that Coley made for herself from her New Zealand collection in the color Milford Sound, which is the same as this. And I saw that she was doing this when she was doing the release stuff for her pre-order. And I was like, I must have details. And so she put stuff in her page as well. She does knit a larger size than me, so I had to like kind of guesstimate on size. I ended up with a whole extra skein. I think I got 5 of these, and I used 399 grams, which was, I still have, this is the excess from the 4th skein, and I still have a whole other skein of this. So like, you get a ton of bang for your buck for this. It is 284 yards for 100 grams, but again, it is quite bulky because of the blown tube. It's just super light, light and floofy. It condenses down, but I don't think you'd want to knit at a super dense gauge because I think it would be like really hot. It's quite warm as it is, and I feel like this open-ish gauge is like really nice. It's not super open, but you know. Okay, that's all I have to say about this. No modifications, no whatever, just that it was a really special yarn project. I still have that yarn, and I really should. I have like, you know, 1.35 or something skeins. So like, I should probably make like a really fun, maybe like a cable hat would be fun. I totally could. Okay, let me do then my finished object for this week. So I only have one, and it is, wouldn't you know it, a pair of socks. These are the socks that I was making last week for my niece. And this is the first sock, and it started with this purple. And I told you I might get to some yellow. And then I was like, maybe I'll just do an inverted stripes. So that's what I did. And it was almost exactly like, I'm nearly dead on for being inverted. So that's pretty fun. They're just like opposite socks. So like right across the bridge is just, it's opposite land. I think she's going to get a kick out of this. She's going to like them. A reminder for pattern here. I use the Lettknit Basic Sock for Kids. This is a pattern by Ben Tashida, who's the person behind Lettknit. And I am I'm using this pattern for my second sock already. Second set of socks that I'm intending to get done in November. Ish. But yeah, so excited that these are done. I made a size 8 toddler shoe. She's in an 8 now, my niece, and like almost a 9. And so I made them a little bit longer, but she has a skinny foot. So I was like, I'm just going to do it because her mom also has real small feet. So I just don't know if they're going to like grow as fast as like Theo's feet are getting huge. So this is for my niece, Margaret, and they are done. I have lots of this yarn left. This did not take that much. I think I did put it in my tracker, so let me tell you how much. It took 34 grams and 136 yards. And I do think my gauge is a little bit tighter than the pattern because I'm using my 2mm, but I prefer that for the density of the sock. So, because this is only a 27 stitch pattern. I did try it on Theo's foot. It fits fine. If it fits her fine, it's going to fit Margaret fine. So here are socks. And it's a free pattern on Ravelry, so you guys can just like look it up. But that one came in at, was the 44 stitches, I think. Okay, let's move on. Great. Okay, I actually do have another finished object, which I said I was going to finish this week, but I did not block it, and that's because like life was chaos, and that's okay. But it is done. I want it to be done, and it's done, and this is my crosshatch hacked, and I think it's beautiful, and I don't even know what end I ended on. Can't even really tell. Pretty good. They're both black, like that, and black, and I just went with a tubular. I didn't think about it too much. I just did a tubular. How I dealt with my 2 I-cord stitches is I actually bound them off normally. So I bound off like 2 full stitches, and then I started with a knit stitch to do the sewn bind off. But I did do the 2 steps first for a real true tubular. Then the last 2 stitches I got to bind off all the way through the steps of like the last purl stitch. And then there's a knit stitch at the end, and then 2 other stitches, and yeah, that's right. And then, so I did the last purl stitch, and it had 1 step of the knit stitch, and then I just put it back on my needle, and I just like bound 3 off regularly, or like that last stitch off regularly. And it looks fine. I don't think you can really tell. Anywho, it is done. And so as a reminder, this is a pattern totally just inspired by Jared Flood's pattern, the Crosshatch. And this was intended to be made with, I mean, like he did patterns for Brooklyn Tweed. And so it was like a worsted and a fingering. And I used a heavy merino from Knitting for Olive and Ulysse, which is like a DK Sport. Which, I mean, it can be used in all of the ways. Seriously, that yarn is so versatile. So I would say it's like, it's close approximation. It's definitely not as wide by any means, and it doesn't have the same edging. And I don't think it has the same bind off either. I think he did something more complicated than just a tubular bind on, like cast on and bind off. So this is what it looks like. I've not blocked it, so it'll block out pretty nicely. I am going to try to stretch it a little bit, but I do want to get a little bit more length. And so here's what it looks like. It's pretty perfect as it is, honestly. Like, I did it long enough that I'm comfy with that, but you know, like, I don't know. It doesn't get that cold here. So I would love it if it was a little more casual. Let's just pull this down here. If I could wear it like this and have a little bit more drape and still have the ends be a little longer. Not a lot, but like this one to get down to there at least, right? I think I'll get even more length than that, but that's my intention, to at least get that. And so I ended it. I just ended it, all right? I was like, I'm done, but I did not block it yet. So I'm going to block this tomorrow, I think, and I've got a bunch of like laundry I got to do. It's my very exciting life. But I will just lay this out the length of a room somewhere in my house where it won't get disturbed. So I don't know where that is, but we'll figure it out tomorrow. But yeah, I'm out anyway. Let me just say, this is a hard thing. I can't really rate this because this is not a written pattern. I will write up like the basics that I did for this because, again, I did not use a pattern. I just used my brain. And it's just a 2-color brioche scarf. So there's really not a lot going on here. Did I enjoy doing this? Yes, for the most part. Got a little bit boring in the middle. I did sort of have to like make myself knit this, but I wanted the end product enough and I want to match my friends that's not like a hardship for me. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not like mad that I made it and like don't enjoy the outcome or the process. The process was a little bit like, it's actually very satisfying to start, and it was satisfying for a while, and some weeks even when it was like kind of boring. Like, it was a really nice project to have that just required very little thinking, but I did brioche 2 colors at a time, so that made it go a lot faster. But it also it's like an engaging thing to knit. Like, I get to use a little bit more of my brain, but also I don't have to think about anything because there's no decreases or increases on this. I cast on 55 stitches, you know, the rest about 51 across and then 2 on each edge. Yeah. So I would say, like, am I satisfied and happy with the project overall? Yes. Would I do it again? Hard pressed. I'd be hard pressed to do this again with this length. I would do a cowl style that's like much smaller, but not, I don't know that I want another that's this length. Okay. I do feel really happy about it. I think it's like really gorgeous. It's that, I really wanted this like black and white super graphic thing. Yarn, super love using both of these. I will say, I think that Knitting for Olive Heavy Merino is like a little bit splitty. I've thought about using that in like a sweater project, that or like Gilead, and I think I would gravitate towards Gilead. Not only because that's wool and spun and it'll be like a little bit airier, better at holding body heat, etc. But yeah, I don't know, like, it was fine. It was a fine knitting experience, but I was like, that's a little annoying. I love knitting with Ulysse, and no one can tell me otherwise. I think it's very soft. I think it's also just like super satisfying thing to knit with. Okay, that's all. Let's move on. So technically really 2 things. I will show you that next week though. Like, I don't know that I would ever be wearing that on a podcast because that would be super hot. Maybe if I can drape it at like the beginning of an episode, I'll just show it to you next week, draped on longer and stand up and stuff, but I'm not going to wear it for a whole episode. So we'll call it like 99% done, and we'll talk about it like for a second next week, but not go through all the details again. We don't need to do that. So I did bring down my Oversized Seasons cardigan, and I did pick it up this week. I did not do as much as I wanted to do, but I ran out of my like wound balls of yarn, and so I need to do that. And so also I wanted to bring it down here because I wanted to put that yarn into the special bin that it's in. But here is where I am. So I did pick up, I don't know if you guys saw it this way. I can't remember. I did pick up a sleeve. It's like comically large. And so I did actually like more rapid decreases, and I'm doing more decreases period than what's written. I actually think it's pretty similar to like how this one fits right now. It's larger than I typically like more space, but I think for the look of this, that's okay. It's like 3 inches of ribbing. So I actually think where I am at is a little bit, I have a little bit more to do before the ribbing, but like not a lot. It was a good stopping point anyway, because I want to do the other sleeve at least to the elbow before I try it on to decide how much, like how many inches really towards the end, because I think that it fits pretty evenly. I'm gonna try to do that this week. That's my goal. That is the Oversized Seasons cardigan by Haley Smedley, who is Ozetta. It is, I'm knitting that with 2 strands of Nudidin held together. I don't know what color Nudidin that is. I got it off of D-Stash, some whitish color. I am doing it with 5mm needles. I'm wildly off gauge, especially in the sleeves. So we're just going for vibes. That's okay. Sometimes this was not like an agenda knit. I just wanted to use that yarn. And I thought that would be like a fun combo to do it in, to have like a very warm, lightweight, white, coaty jacket type cardigan. So that's where we are with that. More progress to come. I don't know that I'm going to make a ton more progress every week. I did knit on that for like 2 days and 2 evenings, and it was fine. It was fine. Yeah, the sleeves aren't going quite as fast as I wanted them to go, but none of this is very fast with this yarn. But I do need to just wind yarn, and I might do that tomorrow. Yes, I have like a plate. I have 2 plates left, and so I need, and that's it. So I need that plate and a half to get me quite a bit more body and the rest of the first sleeve and the other. I actually think I have a ball that's probably about this big, like relatively biggish, that is double wound that I got with this, but I didn't know what it was at the time, and I just shoved it somewhere else. Like I didn't know that it was double wound, but like thinking back on it, I think it must be, and it's somewhere in my scraps. So I'm going to find that too and use that. Okay, the next thing I have, oh, and I'm making, sorry, a size 4 for a 48-inch bust. Recommended ease is 7 inches. That's only like 2 or 3 inches on me, but I'm off gauge, so I'm gonna be probably pretty close to that 7 inches. I am skipping Mila this week because I added like, you know, a good amount, maybe a little bit more than a repeat, maybe almost 2 repeats, but all I did was lengthen the body a little bit. And not that that's not exciting, but we saw it joined in the body last week, and so I would like to get sleeves started before I bring it back out. So I just finished that like last night or the night before, and so I just didn't have it in me to pick up sleeves, and so we're gonna just leave that on the to talk about later pile. But now we have the Kal cardigan, which I got a lot of progress done. Let me figure out where I am. Okay. This is gonna look weird. Okay, so I don't have a marker in of where I was, but I wasn't very far, right? Like I had a little bit of repeats done on the back. Now, because of the way that shoulders are done, let's go back to this. Sorry, this is a pattern by Claire Jackson, who is perfectly knotted on Instagram. This is a half brioche collar, drop shoulder cardigan, worsted weight with this fun half brioche shoulder detail. So, oh, it looks so good actually on camera. Okay, so the way that this works is that this will just fall along the top of my shoulder, and it will, you know, hit to the sleeve, and then you'll just pick up a sleeve from below. Now, this, I was like, okay, I got to the end of the shoulder increases, and I'm like, how am I going to split for sleeves for this? Just the way you might imagine. So I did the left side first, and now I'm doing the back, and then I'll do the right side, and then I'll join them all together with like a sleeve hole. So I just stopped on one side of, like, she gives you instructions on where, obviously, one side of the, incorporating some, but not all of the middle stitches, right? Then I just knit with some neck increases to make like the V over of the cardigan. Okay, right? So I did all of that. This is on, like, I have my interchangeables pinned together. So that would sit flat across. So the front left panel is done. Then I just went back and picked up the other stitches, whatever was left, and I started the back panel. Okay, I only added like 4 rows on the back panel, so I'll finish the back panel this week. And then hopefully, I mean, it would be nice if I got to join in the round by next week. That would feel pretty good, because that would be like the first week of December. I have this in the Mila to finish from my Make 9, and I think I can do that. I'm just like living in cardigan land. So I have to do that and then join, and I'm just really loving how the color is coming out. It's so good. I am not helically knitting. I did join my second ball of yarn partway through the front. Yeah, right towards the end of the front. Here, like right here, and then the back will be with that other yarn. They're like pretty close. With the blue, it really helps blend it out. So I didn't feel like worrying about it. If I come across a real issue, I'll kind of just keep looking at it like more from far away, because it's hard to tell when you're like knitting. So I think it's fine. And I am making a size 4 for this also. This is 50 inches. Recommended ease is 20 to 30% additional of your full bust in inches. That won't be that for me. This is more like 10.5% or something, which is fine. My preference anyway for a cardigan is not too oversized, but what I will say is that it'll have a little less drop on me. And one thing I did notice from some of the tester pictures and just some comments on project, and also when Knit California made hers, is that the armholes were quite small. When I was doing the math on like what the split would be, it also seemed a little bit small. So I actually did the front panel on this side a little bit longer, so that I have like not a lot, like maybe an inch longer, maybe a little bit less. Now I'll measure before I join, so I can tell you guys. And I'm just going to knit the same number of rows on all of them, so that it's they're the same length. And so so it'll be a little bit more, and I'm going to just pick up a few more stitches too, so it doesn't, I think the pickup rate is, I guess it's almost 1 in every, but not quite. And I will do 1 in every, I think, stitch will give me like a slightly bigger sleeve that's not suctioned onto my arm there, because that would also like look weird. That doesn't look as like drapey as I think the look of a drop shoulder has, is that it's not like skinny arms. Generally, not all the time. Okay, here we are. It's like a lopsided Kal cardigan. Okay. And for that reminder, I am using this. I just feel like every time I look at this combo, I can't believe this is what it looks like, because it's so yellow. This, which is Tia Beanies from Backloop Yarn and Fiber, and then this, which is Drops Navy Blue. Kid Silk Navy Blue. Okay, I have 2 new cast-ons then. On Friday of last week, I went to go see Wicked in the movie theater with Katie, who is in my knitting group. And when I was thinking about could I bring anything, even just for the beginning, which I'm glad I did, because let me tell you, we got to the movies like maybe 15 minutes before the start of the movie. And I was like, okay, that's good. Like that gives us time for snacks and to get all the way up to the theater and whatever. That movie did not start for like more like an hour from when we sat down. It was like just so many commercials. I haven't been to the movies in a long time, because like I'm a mom and there's so many streaming things. I don't watch that much TV, y'all, right? So, anyway, I was like, this is outrageous. So I'm really glad I brought this, because I had tons of time to knit. But this is on very small needles, a very small round here, is Nurtured by Andrew Mowry. I am doing this out of order. You're supposed to do sleeves first, and then you do the body, and then you join them. It is a bottom-up raglan. And I decided to not do that because I didn't want to do increases while I was at the movie theater. I really just wanted to work on the ribbing and like maybe the beginning of the round rows. I only got to the ribbing, then I was like, well, I need to measure this, and I don't really want to do that in the movie theater. So I took more pauses and actually watched the movie. I mean, I was watching the movie anyway. I don't have to look at this while I'm knitting, and it was dark, so I was not looking at this while I was knitting. But that was great. Okay, so let's talk about this for a second. I'll pop the picture up here. So Nurtured, it's a cropped sweater that is like Erin weight. And she has some like fleecy type suggestions. Well, I got this idea a while ago. So Katie, also from my knitting group, so I thought this was a very good moment for us. Not only because it's like a little bit Wicked colors. It's like green and black. And I love Elphaba, so, this color is called Northwest. You may have seen, well, you can see it here. And I can show you it in the skein. This is my first time, I think my first time ever working with Sugar Plum Circus, okay? This is their smooth sock. It is 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. And you can see it's just like a speckly business. There's lots of black in there. There's lots of this like dark bluey greens here. But there's also like how it breaks and some of the colors. There's like a little bit of this like goldy, like pickly color too. Okay. I mean, that's like throughout. So there's just like that color it exists throughout. So, oh, sorry. And did I say this color is called Northwest? It's 463 yards for 100 grams. So, Northwest is like such a fitting color. Okay. So Katie got this yarn to make an All of the Lights cardigan by Joji Locatelli and holding it double. And it was too busy for that. She just didn't like the outcome. So she ripped it out. And then like last year, maybe, I think I must have showed this to you guys. I got this from Yarn Swap from her. And it's like 4,000 yards. It's so many skeins. It's like 6 full skeins and then some frogged skeins. Okay. One of them was like a full skein and then some of them are partials that were doubled up from her ripping it out. So I actually used the full skein that was already caked plus one of the partials to get this because I'm holding this triple. So triple gets me pretty close to an Aran weight. This I think is going to be pretty on gauge. It's going to be heavy. It's gonna be a heavy crop top, and I probably will make this a little bit cropped because I don't have like enough yardage to make this a lot of inches bigger. We'll kind of evaluate in body as I'm like getting towards, because I will pick up sleeves soon. Like I have so many skeins of yard. I can just cake some up and then pick up the sleeves and start doing those. But I do like how the stitch pattern is coming out in this. It's going to be kind of busy, speckly. And I think once it gets bigger, you'll really see it. But it has this honeycomb stitch where it's like such an interesting look. And with the 3 skeins, also like holding it 3, it is very, like, I don't know, the speckly feels like kind of even. It kind of just feels like speckles all over, right? Like that's, I don't know. It doesn't like, there's not really like pooling. I don't think it will. I think it'll look like mostly silver with speckles. So anywho, I did stop here after like Saturday sometime and I decided I'm going to, because I ran out of the one that I was holding double. And so I'm going to just like pause, go to sleeves, do those. But here's my conundrum, and I'm just solving it myself because, and Sylvan confirmed for me that, I think Sylvan said this, that she thinks it would work. So I was looking back, Andrew Maurer patterns quite often have relatively small arms compared to like the body, especially when instead of like extra large and etc. sizes, she's adding like only like a little bit, but oftentimes if you're in a plus size, your arms are larger and like proportional to your body, but not proportionally in like a scale. Do you know what I mean? Like it's not just like a add 1 inch for every size, because that doesn't really make sense all the time. So I am going to knit. This is a size 4 body. I'll tell you the measurements for that. But I am going to make the size 5 sleeves. As you know, I don't love always a very oversized raglan. Partly also because of this being cropped. I don't want it to be too wide. Like I'd rather get a little bit width and have it slightly more fitted. I also think I might be just a tiny bit off gauge, and that's quite all right with this. And so actually it feels pretty dead on right now, but I don't know. We'll see as weight and stuff comes. Plus, this is going to be heavy. Okay. All of these reasons, I picked 48 inches. This says to be worn or like intended to be worn with 4 to 6 inches of positive ease. Now, for me, 48 inches is 2 to 3. I would still rather that than the 52, which is like 7. Right? So it's like sometimes your numbers are just like in a weird place, and I have a smaller upper bust. And so all of these reasons, 48 inches, but the bicep size for size 4 is quite small feeling. So like in my mind, and also because I know how big my arm is, and you can't change it when you do bottom up. So I'm going to do size 5. And I'm going to knit as intended. And I did look at the measurements, and the like lengthwise, it should be fine. So I'm just going to knit it. size 5. What I'm then going to do is I'm going to pick up and I'm going to decrease. I like looked at for size 4. It's got kind of compound decreases. So it's like less frequent at the beginning. I think it's at the beginning of the decreases. So towards the armpit of the arm sleeve, like of the sleeve stitches in particular. So I'm just going to do the math for the difference. It's not a ton of stitches because this is a pretty big gauge. So I should be okay just getting those extra like 6 or 8 stitches out of each sleeve by doing some extra, like 4 decreases or, you know, 3 or 4 decreases extra on the sleeves. And they're already built in to not have them for this size. So I will just add them and then I should have the same upper bust. So we'll see how that works. TBD, I'll let you know. We have weeks to go from there. So anyway, those are my plans and that's where we are on Nurtured using Northwest. The other cast on I have is my other November sock. So this is a single skein that I had that my niece Maya picked out for her socks. This is called Wine Country. They didn't care about the names. By Tributary Yarns. This is the first time I'm ever using yarn by Tributary Yarns, something I got off of a D-stash just as a single skein because I thought it was pretty. The base is called Stream Sock. It is 75% superwash merino and 25% nylon, 463 yards for 100 grams. So just like the other yarn I'm using, only held single and using 2mm needles. And she wears a size 12 shoe, toddler shoe. She's a big kid and she'll be 6 in February. So I think that it's fine. I did the size 13 for this. I'll just use the measurements they have. Might give her a little bit of space for right now, but I have no doubt she's like Theo. She just growing like a weed. So she's going to size out. So I might as well give her a little bit more wear. This is a really cute yarn. It's just got some pink and blue and a little bit of like yellow and tan speckles. It's like very light, very fun. Same exact pattern as the last one I did. I'm using the Lettknit socks for kids, basic socks for kids. And for this one decided to do the full to ankle 2x2 ribbing. Okay. I will switch this for my oldest niece. She wears like a kids 2 or adult 2, whatever. Youth 2. I don't know what kid sizes are crazy. So she is going to have like, it's basically like an extra small sock, I think, like stitches wise for this pattern. This one is 52 stitches. And I think that the next size is the same sock. It's 52 stitches, but it's longer. But I think for June, I'm going to do hers with like less cuff and then some leg, because that becomes like more like just like an extra small size in other socks. And I just feel like I'm going to get bored of all this 2x2 ribbing. And so I might as well. And then her brother is wearing he's 11 and he is wearing like his mom just was like, he can fit my shoes. So let's make him a women's size 7.5 type sock. I was like, okay, good. But I might, because he's also super athletic, I might do like a sportier something for his. So we'll decide, but this is Maya's. This is the first sock. I did not cast on the second sock. I normally do 2 at a time. I did find my other needle. I just didn't do it this week, and I think that's okay. I'm going to just try to power through this sock like tomorrow, cast on the other one, and at least have the last of the socks cast on for this month, If I don't finish it this weekend, it's okay. It can be my desk knit next week, but I immediately have to roll into the other socks so I can get them all done by December 25th, whenever I see them, the 24th. So here we are. Let's do the book snake. I didn't stuff this again. I have the stuffing right here, guys. I need to go back and fix this part. It's a little too stiff. And that means I have to like roll this down, and it's kind of annoying to do. So I will do that. I'm just letting you know, not stuffed this week. It looks so silly when it's not stuffed. Okay, for anyone who's new or doesn't know, I read a lot of books, and every week I read somewhere between 2 and 6 books. That's a lot. That's a big range, but also it's almost always at least 2. And I decided, because I don't read that many genres, mostly just romance and fantasy, that I was not going to do a like genre-based card because that would be so boring, and I have tons of really pretty colored scraps. So I decided to pick something from the books that I read. So I tell you a little bit about the books that I'm reading or that I have read this week, and I show you them on the book snake. This is a pattern by Han Lee. I am taking this to the extreme. It's gonna be huge. Yeah, so It's gonna be huge. I have this one here is where I decided for, I'll just pop this picture up for a second. Again, this is the last book I finished last week, which was like on Wednesday night, called From the Dream Man series by Kristen Ashley, called Wild Man. So we talked about that. It's a lot more red. I'm just holding red and purple together. The background is purple in this, and the words are red. I wanted to read more purple, but I wasn't like, you know, I don't play with the marled yarn to like have one facing out or whatever. It just is what it is. So it just looks pretty red. The back looks pretty purple, so whatever. It is what it is. Okay. So I finished that one last week, and so we talked about it. Yes. Now, what did I finish this week? I finished Her Feral Beasts, which I don't remember. I don't know if y'all remember, but it wasn't that long ago. Maybe it was even like just back here. I read a book called Her Vicious Beasts, which is like the 0.5. So it's the prequel. It's funny. It's really like a novella length, but you have to read it to have any idea what's going on in the story. This is not an optional prequel, and you have to read it first because you would be so lost on what's going on. This is a fated mates, why choose romance with shapeshifters. Shapeshifters all like, each type of shapeshifter has their own kind of magic too. So there's magic plus shapeshifting. So like the phoenixes can tell the future and some other things. The dragons have like tons of magics. I don't know. But like wolves are telepathic and super strong. Feline shifters are telekinetic and super strong. There's other things, right? So you get what I'm saying. The girl that we meet is fated to more than one type of beast, which is uncommon. So normally if you're like a feline shifter, you have feline mates. Because she is something that we don't find out until like the end of this book or middle of this book, why she's got so many issues with her mates and is running away from them. A la the Bonds That Tie series, where she has some deep dark secret and there's a reason she's scorning her mates, and you know everybody's mad about it. It's very similar vibes for that. Also in a school setting. This is like a reform military prison school. It's like a prison school. It's weird. It's a weird thing. I'm in the middle of the third book right now, and I'm having a great time. So I so far do really like it. All of her mates are morally gray, not nice boys. Yeah, not nice boys. But we love them. Okay, so anyway, this one is called Her Feral Beast. It picks up right at the end of the prequel. She's on the run from them. She gets captured, goes to the prison school. In this one, you get a little change of heart from one of her mates. The other ones end up like helping her out a bit, but like resentfully. And I think at the end of this one, you do find out what she is, or sort of like everybody's sort of okay. And then and then the next thing I read, this is annoying because I'm going to go out of order on the snake, and I don't like to do that, but I just want to continue this vein so it's easier to talk about. The next one I finished from that was this one here, which is called Her Rabid Beasts, and that's number 2. And also by E.P. Bali in this Her Vicious Beast series. It is, you're getting on with the story more. This is all happening in the same like year at school. She's like bonding with her girl classmates. She's never really had any friends, which is like often the FMC problem, is why she needs like a pack of dudes to take care of her because she does not have friends. It's concerning. But she's got reasons for that, basically shunned by her community, etc. So this one gets wild. She bonds with another one of her mates, actually, like I would say 2 of them. We've got 2 holdouts, and they're strongly even holding out in this third one. Like, I'm like, when are you guys gonna get together? I don't know. Like, what is happening here? They're like taking care of her, but they're holding out. They're like, we're gonna love you. And you know, it's a thing. Everybody has feelings about it. I think both of these, I just used the black, and then like this one had some green in it, and this one had just all gold. In this one though, things get really real at the end. Both like political machinations happening, and also she does a thing that is like a statement to the world, and I was here for it. I was like, You do you, girl. So, okay, we're going back here. This one in the middle is my representation of Drive by Kate Stewart. Okay, this one has been in my Kindle reads for a while. I was hesitant because I talked to one of my girlfriends about this, and we were talking about just books. We read a lot of the same books, and she was reading something that I was like, the emotional damage, and she was like, have you read Drive? And I was like, no, but it's been on my list ever since I read Ravenhood, the Ravenhood trilogy by Kate Stewart. If you haven't read that and you like sort of it's a dark romance, I would say, but it's not like super dark. Like, it's just kind of like bad things are happening, and the definitely morally gray MMCs. Okay. And like a lot of just like trauma. Yeah. I really like that series a lot though. And I think about it still. Like, I thought it was just really well done, and it hits you in the feels hard. I cried many times reading that series. This one, so I started reading it several months ago, like just a couple of pages, and it was start in time and then go back. And I was like, it was just at a moment where I had just read a bunch of those, that time when I was struggling, way back here, where I was like struggling with some of these, like, why am I reading so many things, like second chance type things, or like we have to go back in time. And I was like annoyed. Okay. So I put it down. I just was, even with her recommendation, I was like, I need some time to depart from those. So I decided to pick it up this past week, or 2 weeks, this past week, I guess, or the week before a little bit. And then I just devoured it. I also did spoil it for myself because I had to know, and I don't feel any shame for that. Okay. I would say you shouldn't spoil it for yourself because it's worth it, but I didn't care. I was like getting kind of towards the middle, and I was like, I have a feeling of what's trying to happen here. I don't want to wait for the end. If I had a physical book, I would surely have just spoiled for myself, but I did not. And I just went on Reddit, like read one comment with spoilers, and I was like, okay, thank God. All right, that's it. That's all how I have to say. This is totally like a sort of like a love triangle-y, going back in the past. You don't know what's happening in the current state of things. All you know is that she's with somebody and upset that somebody else has gotten married. You think. I mean, it's hard to tell what's going on. Okay? That's all I'm going to tell you. It was really good. I started reading Reverse then, and Reverse is the second of the series, and she wrote this like 5 years later, and it's actually like a second generational. It's a second generation thing. I can't tell you who because that would give it away. I am not going to read it right now. I think I need to give myself several months of break before I dive into it, because I'm just so fresh with the first generation story that I don't want to read about their kids right now. Like, I don't want to. That's my choice. I'm gonna read it, just like maybe in a while. I really like Kate Stewart books though, and she does have a Christmas one that I'm like very tempted to pick up because I feel in the mood for some Christmas reads. Okay, this one here though is another sports romance, and that is Hard to Score from the Play Hard series by K. Bromberg. I think I told you guys before that I've never read a K. Bromberg book. I realized when I went back through some of her like author like page, I'm wrong. I read her Driven series when it first came out, and I didn't finish it because I read these when they really first came out, like 2013, 2014. I did not ever go back and pick any more of them up. So I think there's 6 of them, and 6 or 7 in total, and I've only read the first 3, but the first 3 are excellent, and I really, really liked reading them. So I devoured them way back then, and I just didn't realize that was her until I went back to like look at her author page for something. So this is the story about Brexton and Drew. I think Brexton is like the 3rd youngest daughter, maybe. So there's 4 daughters. So there will be 1 more at least of this series. I think that's it. She works for Kincaid Sports Management, as they all do. This actually had not a lot to do, like, this wasn't the conflict of like, are you representing one of your players? Because that's kind of what's happening in the other ones. Sort of, kind of, not as much also for the second one, but that's like that's a general issue for her. So like this one it didn't come up to be that, which I'm glad, because it wasn't just like the same problem repeated. This one is actually just She runs into an old crush, like a childhood crush. And their paths, even though he's in the sports world, their paths have not crossed in more than a decade. And there's some mystery around why, and then you get toward the whole story. It's pretty heartbreaking. I think it was really well done though. I also think it was like a nice story because there are like little bits and pieces of memory that you go back to, but not like enough to be annoying. It's just like these little memories, so you can like, it's like a way for them to easily be like, we were tied together, and like, you know, they bring up things from their childhood that are then relevant to the today story. So I enjoyed it. I picked kind of like the football-y color, and just like the background is like that like tanny color. So here we are, Booksnake. The next thing I want to talk about real quick is a spin update. And I finished a bobbin in no time at all, just over the last couple of days. And this is a long draw. Is it going to focus? There we go. This beautiful tanny color. This is Charlie. So this is part of my flock purchases and from this year. And this is, I got 2 bats of this. So I have one more that's very similar in size and weight, and also from the same sheep, Charlie. It is a merino, straight from the sheep, carded up, woolen prepped at like a mill. So it's very randomized, and it was really fun to do long draw. How I did this is I just opened up the bat, and I did a strip the long way. I really suppose you could go either direction, but they just seem to like split that way pretty easily. So I did strips off of it long ways. And then I just practiced the long draw. I don't know if I'm overspun or underspun. This is only my second time doing long draw. It's quite fluffy. So there's like definitely little nubbins that don't have very much ply on them, but the underlying strand of it, like overall, like, and I think just because it's a truly woolen prep, like they're not all facing the same direction. So sometimes you just get a lot of like trapped air in a bit of fiber, and without having to go in and manipulate it to make it, or like sometimes it would get too thin if I did that. So I just like kind of let it go. And I was really trying to do for real long draw. So I was doing some supported in the beginning, and then I was doing a little bit unsupported, and it was very exciting. So I have not started the second bobbin yet, but I will just do the second, and I'm just going to apply for a 2-ply and see what I get. In news of the knitting world, if you haven't heard, today, Jess released that she's gonna have for Small Business Saturday. So hopefully you'll see this before then. If not, like look. And then also she held some back for something that she's doing for the summer, and I don't know what it is, but she did give me a preview picture of the colors, and I'm so stoked. So Charlie's in there, and I think they'll just be listed maybe by the sheep. There's a gray, a cream, and a tan. And so, Charlie is like the tanner one, I'm pretty sure. And so it's exciting. I am, really excited to have this and to ply it up. I will maybe buy some from her. So all of it is 270 yards for those 100 gram skeins. So some of them are DK, or they're not all 100 grams. Sorry. They're all 270 yards, and some of them are a little bit more sport, a little more DK. She has that listed. I may get some. I don't know. I really love just like having some spun from myself spinning the sheep. I don't know if I want to add with some milled also. I'm sure it's going to feel amazing, because this feels amazing, and it's not even done yet. And I really finished that so fast, y'all. I can also say that was my first time using the auto winder to do long draw, and that was also a much better experience because I didn't have to get out of my groove and stop and adjust only to get more strips from the bat. And that was like really pretty amazing, because I just felt like it goes so fast anyway that I feel like I would have had to stop to move the thing like a ton of times. I'm not gonna stop talking about it, because even though yes, that was gifted to me, I actually really think that is such a cool hand spun tool, like for me in particular. Okay, all I'm gonna show you for this package is the packaging. So I think that the first day to open is on Saturday, but I will say I already know all the colors. So what am I talking about? This is the beautiful packaging for the Butterfly Effect Solstice box from EKF this year. Okay. I don't know, some of you knew, some of you mentioned me in the comments, some of you like told me on Discord or other things, but I was one of the winners for a box from Explore Knits. They put out an Instagram post. You could answer with some, it was actually like just one, I think it was one comment per person, which I much prefer those. It's not about tagging friends. It was about like a moment, that would have, that change your life. Okay. Like how it had like downstream effects. And it was a really like awesome way to reflect too a little bit. So, but I think it was a randomized pick and I won. And because of that, I chose the full DK box for this year. Last year I did Denali. I love Denali, but y'all, I have a lot of fingering weight yarn and I wanted the option of DK for something to go a little bit faster, maybe to do a shawl or two. I think the last 2 years have not had quite as cohesive of a palette as this. I already looked at them because 2 weeks ago or a week and a half ago, Sylvan and Katie both got their package. Well, they both got shipped to Sylvan's house. And they met up to open it and FaceTimed me. I was working, but I was like, I want to know this year, spoil me. So they opened all the packages and I got to see them and I love them so hard. So I won't spoil it for you guys, and I'm not even going to open them right now because I'm sort of deciding on what I want to do with them. I'm going to keep all of them, I think. We were talking about maybe trading this year or not, and I think our consensus, because it's just me, Katie, and Sylvan that have it, and we all have the DK, just the Rockies DK, just like to make it easier if we did want to trade. But I do think that all of us kind of really like it as a cohesive palette. And so I don't know that I'm going to do anything with it. And I'm okay with that. So I did buy the Day of box. That was the other one I was holding, this kind of less squishy one that has the goodies and stuff. So I also know what those are. I won't tell you. What I'll probably do is wait until the week after solstice or maybe the last week of the year. And I'll just pull them all out for you. I don't know when Allie's going to start revealing the colors. So she may do that before me on Instagram, but you're free to like look and whatever. And I'll just show you them all together at the end because I don't even want to like mess with packages half open not. So I'm sorry if that's going to be like disappointing to you. That is just, I really think I'm just not going to open them until like Christmas, and there'll be something I open for myself Christmas or thereafter and just pull them all out and take some pictures and stuff. All right, so let's go through what I got from Paisley Knits, which is my Nature's Palette Q3 colors. So she has not put out the fiber picture for these yet, and I'm going to share this, but she put out the inspo picture. I've seen some other people post it, and quite frankly, it's already almost a month into the quarter, so I'm going to do it, hoping most of you have already gotten your packages. If you have not gotten your yarn from Paisley Knits and you've ordered the Nature's Palette box and you don't want to see them, I'm telling you now, look away, skip ahead to the next section. I don't know what to tell you, but I'm going to take a couple minutes to look at them. So I'm going to do an order here according to her pictures on Instagram. So this first one is called Dahlias. As you can see, I'll flash up the picture of the thing first. This is pretty dang dead on. Looks a lot like that to me. It's really vibrant. I think like my favorite color dahlia is like a blood red one, like a wine colored one. That was what we used for our wedding picture, like our wedding flowers, and I love it. But I do love this, and we have some neighbors with really bright colored dahlias. Dahlias are my favorite flowers, so like very special, very pretty. This one is 100% Punta Arenas spinning fiber. It's 24 microns and it's 4 ounces, and I'm really excited to spin this one. I don't have any Punta Arenas. I know that like Ariel had some in her Advent, I think last year, and she said it spun pretty nicely. Very similar to like a Falkland merino, like a little bit, I don't know, scratchier is the right word, but it's definitely not as soft as a 21 micron, you know, or 19 micron super soft merino, but like has good stable length and stuff. So that's that. The second one for August is called Great Barrier Reef. The picture she has for it is this. It's gorgeous, like super pretty. She even does like that picture that shows like she picks out some colors so you can kind of see what you might be expecting. So this is that. It is got a lot of like blues and greens and has that like pretty pink in there. And I think like the way that it's splitting is like so like tie-dye, kind of like psychedelic, like really fun color wise. And this is 100% South American wool. It's 25 microns. This feels really similar to the Punta Arena. So like until I pull it apart, it's hard to tell if there's going to be much difference. This feels a little bit like airier and loftier just in the braid. I mean, you can tell the difference. Here's the dahlias again. So just like, it's a little bit plumper. It has a little bit more air, just the way that the braid, you know, was. I'm sure the fiber was. So the last one is called Cacti. And this to me is interesting because I knew what the picture was, but I still was like, yes, overall gorgeous. Has a lot more like of the dusky purple than I thought it would, and less of the green. And again, this is not an open braid, so it's hard for me to tell, but this is what it looks like. So that was the picture up there. And I mean, the pictures include sky, right? Like you're not going to take like the other one included water, but like it is like a lot of like the sky and like the hills in this one. And I don't hate it. I think it's really pretty. And I think she totally captured like the prickly pear green, which is like such a special green. I love it. I love prickly pear. Are also my favorite kind of cactus. I just like think they're fun. You know, and this one is 100% Falkland merino spinning yarn. And so this is 21 microns. I really would be hard pressed to tell you if I was just touching 3 of these blind. Let me touch them blind. I mean, I know which ones they are. I think you can a little bit tell the difference between like these two feel the same amount of airiness, but there's something about the touch of them where it just feels like not quite as soft. I don't even know how to tell you. Like it's almost like the velvet on your finger pads, like how much it feels like velvet and like a little bit coarser. So I don't think it's, I think it's hard to tell the difference really, but I do think like these are kind of similar palette wise, but this to me is like much brighter than this is. Like this is a lot more like orangey green in there and blue. And this is that dusky purple, pink and green. So similar. I think cohesively, like this is a pretty fun palette for the summer. July, August, September. Okay, I'm done talking about fiber now. If you want to come back. I just love those boxes. They're really fun. We already know the pictures that are coming for Q4. So like you could probably take a relatively good guess about what they're going to look like. Although like, you know, I think the mixing of the actual colors is always a surprise. Like how much quantities and stuff. I'm really excited for December. December's gonna be really pretty. So, I don't know what I'm going to do with them. I think I probably will take a picture at least for you at the end of the year of all of them sitting in as much natural light as I can give you in December here in Seattle. Or I guess this will probably be January or probably the end of January by the time I get the Q4. So let's say by the end of January, I think it would be really cool to take a picture of all 12 of them. And then we can talk through some patterns. I was talking to somebody else, I don't know if she watched the podcast, but somebody who's on my Discord, we were talking about the like she's also got I think the same box as me, so like with the different fibers, and some of them are not super soft, and like what are we gonna do with them? And I don't know is the answer, but if you have any ideas, let me know. I'll have 12 4-ounce braids or close to 4-ounce braids. There's like 1 or 2 that are 3.5 I think to play with. Could use some neutrals or something else in there. Could blend them in a different way. I haven't spun any of them, so I'm really open if we do like plies in a certain way or do something else fun. I don't know, but I'd love some feedback. So let me know what you think. Last thing I got in the mail was my Hello Lavender India order. So she did this pre-release a couple months ago. Not that long ago. I feel like I ordered, I don't know. I have no idea. But I did tell you, I think I told you I got 2 things. Maybe I didn't tell you what I got at all. But I was having a really hard time picking colors because I thought they were all so gorgeous. She had really great colors. What I knew I wanted to get from her is a t-shirt quantity and her silk sock, because I've been talking about this, that I wanted a 50-50 silk sock, silk superwash merino sock from somebody to try out for a t-shirt to see how I like that. It feels amazing. I cannot wait. Okay, I decided to get Mirchi, which is the red color. This is pretty true to color. It's a little bit orangey in person, not in a bad way. This is still red enough for me. It's quite saturated, so it will look really nice next to skin for me. Like I said, it's superwash merino and silk, 50/50, 100 grams, 437 yards, 4 ply, and it is shiny. I don't know how much that shine's coming across. Yeah, there it is. Wow. Shiny, shiny, shiny. It's really shiny, really smooth. I think it's going to be great. Then I allowed Theo to pick one thing. And really I gave her just a couple of options. Really the bright pink that went with this, or this color. And so she wanted the speckles. So I got this Holy from which is her woolen decay base, which is 100% Patagonian woolen spun merino. It is a 3-ply. It feels very dense in the way that it's just skeined right now, but I think it'll be like lofty and beautiful. It's 270 yards for 100 grams, which is a great amount for a DK, and I am going to make her a hat with this. She really loves wearing my Manhattan hat, so I might make her another Manhattan hat, or I might make her like kind of a long skinny scarf. So dependent, I probably won't make it for her this year because she's getting away with wearing 2 of my hats right now. But I mean, I might cast this on as one of my like one skein projects next year towards the end of the year when she can kind of give me an opinion about what kind of a hat she wants with this, or like item, what accessory she wants with it. Because honestly, you could do some really nice mittens with that too. Like a neck warmer and mittens, I could probably get away with both of those things for 270 yards. Like a small neck warmer, you know, like a tiny cow. For her size. It's a lot of things to tell you. Anyway, I only got one skein of that. So I have one skein of that, one, and a t-shirt quantity of the Mirchi, and I really love them. I think they're excellent. Okay, let me give you a super quick rundown of what's been going on over here. I don't want to go into too many details. Okay, so we were at a play date on Sunday, and with a kid we see all the time who has a little brother. Little brother was being a little bit fussy during the play date, but he's also just over 1, and you know, babies, they get teeth, they do other things. These kids got all close and personal to each other, and then on Monday morning we got a text message from the mom that said, and we see these all the time, right? They are daycare kids. There is always a risk for things. Theo's now in preschool. Most of those kids, all of those kids, I think, do not go anywhere else. They don't have daycare or anything. They're all like at home otherwise. Some of them have siblings, so that's not, I mean, we've gotten some of the preschool illnesses, right? But he got sent home from preschool with, or he got sent home from daycare with a hand, foot, and mouth. Now, his mom didn't see any sores. He was like being very fussy, and I think like maybe he had a couple then on his hand, but he also has really bad eczema, and eczema looks a lot like hand, foot, and mouth, but his is all over his body and has been. This is an ongoing thing. But one of the other kids in the class had it. And so in an overabundance of caution, they told us right away, like literally she picked him up from daycare and told us. Older sister, not exhibiting any signs, still not exhibiting any signs. 4 days later, we may be in the clear. But we canceled Thanksgiving because that's a super contagious thing. So we just kind of bunkered down and did not leave our house after Monday, really. So like we're just staying home. Luckily we don't have to go to offices anyway, and Theo didn't have school this week, so we're like, no one's missing anything. But we did cancel Thanksgiving. We were gonna have some family over. We did decide to just like do a small meal ourselves, you know, keep it easy. And thank goodness, because we had not gotten a turkey yet. I'm a last minute turkey getter. I'm the worst. I'm always like, I don't know, whatever's left. I don't care. It's not my favorite part to do for Thanksgiving. I do love making the sides. I usually making a dessert, but we just decided to, you know, not go that route then, because we found out in time. Like I was going to go to the store, had everything prepped to go to the store for a big run on Monday and have the turkey like just defrosting in the fridge all the way until whatever Thursday. Whatever the timing is for this, right? So that was lucky for us because on Wednesday, like late afternoon, right before dinner, Theo got a fever, and it spiked really high late at night. We were giving her some stuff, some, you know, fever pain medication, but it was really high, and then she vomited, and then we went to the ER. It's always the thing they tell you if it's a fever and vomiting, especially if it's like set in, you go to the ER, let them take care of you, make sure everything's okay. It was a good option for us because she was just really nauseous. And so, we didn't have any nausea medication. So and it was also like, it was late and everything is closed because it's a holiday. They found us a CVS that was 24 hours. So we did get her some nausea medicine. Anyway, she's okay. But it's always a scary thing as a parent, which is like, it's totally out of your control. Right. But we went to Seattle Children's. And so anybody who is a nurse who watches this, I mean, shout outs always to our healthcare professionals who deal with so much awful stuff, especially in flu and cold season. And I'm glad that we were vaccinated already. She did, her quick PCR came back negative for COVID, flu, and RSV, just some other bug. The nurse practitioner that we did see said that just like there's been a lot of stomach bugs going around, nothing like norovirus or anything like that, just some bad stomach bug going around. We told her we had the hand, foot, and mouth exposure. They didn't seem to think that was this because of the other symptoms she was presenting, and looking in all of her parts, she didn't have any, you know, they just didn't think that's what it was. We are still staying home, but it was scary to take your kid to the emergency doctor. And she was just like, she was feeling it. She was really unhappy. She's had a fever off and on for most of today. And we've just been giving her a medication as they told us to. But she's such a trooper, and like, she is like she gets like whiny. Like, I can tell when she starts like to feel icky again. And it's been like just in time with her medications, like just right before the next dose. So she's definitely riding that fever wave today. She's keeping food down and she's feeling better. So we're hopeful that by tomorrow, everything will just be like gone. And going to Seattle Children's was obviously the best move for us, not only because the ER experience there is really great because they cater to kids. And like all of the staff is really amazing towards all ages of kids, but it's also like, it was not a traumatic ER experience. We walked in, they triaged us. Like Mike had timed it. Like by the time he like walked in the front doors to her getting the nausea medication was 15 minutes. Like, that is crazy. It was an amazing experience. So anybody who works there, like, we had the best time in a terrible time, right? So like, it was, I can't say enough about how grateful we are to have such an amazing hospital so close to us. So after a harrowing drive down, and 20 minutes on our house trying to get us together to get her out, very glad that they were able to take care of us so quickly. Then yeah, we were couch people all day. We don't do a lot of TV with her normally, but she didn't want to do anything. She didn't want to read books. She wanted to lay there and I let it happen. We spent part of the day, we like took breaks from the TV and just like laid, but she was, I could tell when her fever like broke with the medicine, she was like up and running around, TV off. As soon as she started to feel icky again, we just like laid back on the couch. So poor kid. It's just been thing after thing over here, you know, as it tends to be. So, trying to find the silver lining in all of our situations. This one for us was already telling everybody not to come and not having a turkey to worry about. We didn't get home until 1:30 in the morning. Everybody was exhausted. She still woke up early, and then she woke up with a little bit of a fever, and it was just like managing her all day. I was like, I cannot imagine. Even if we didn't have anybody come, we would have had a defrosted turkey, which we would have had to deal with. So I was like, no way. It was so good to just have ourselves to worry about. But yeah, it's just been a week. I had some work stuff I had to work on Wednesday, even though I was off Wednesday. It was just an emergency, which does not happen in my work very often. And I jumped in to help with it. And I am going to make up those hours like next week. But I just didn't get that much knitting done because I was on calls. I was like trying to manage some stuff. I was supposed to be doing chores and knitting yesterday, plus baking. None of that. Okay. And that is okay. I was here to take care of my kid, and work and all the things that needed me. And so I shall play over the weekend. Luckily, we get this long weekend. I don't have work tomorrow, not until Monday. So yes. I hope that anybody here in the US, if you can take the time or have the time off, that you're enjoying it with your friends and family, that you are reflecting on what you're thankful for this year. Trisha, don't forget, from Yarn Jam is having the Podcaster Collection re-release one day only. I did see it 6 a.m. to 6 a.m. So starting 6 a.m. Saturday Eastern. So if you're outside that time zone, just know that that's the time to buy. I think she's having Shaniko and Shaniko, regular Shaniko and the confetti again. I don't know if the silk is in play, so just look that up for yourself if you are curious. But if you want any of our 5 colors, me, Casey, Marlene, Ariel, or Emily, we are gonna all be on there. Even if you don't buy from my colorway, I'd love to know if you're purchasing. You can tag me on Instagram or whatever. It's so exciting she's doing it again. I feel very happy about that. I think that Jess is doing, from Witchfire, is doing those sheep to yarn, her small batches of those. I think it's also going to be Saturday. I know Kate from Red Door is doing, maybe it's on Sunday, she's doing her K-pop Demon Hunters release. There's a lot of fun stuff happening. Not until the next week is Throne of Glass, because we still have a couple of variegateds to get through and samples. So if you're watching her stuff on Instagram, I will not post a picture this week, but I will post I'll post next week with the full collection. I'm in so much trouble. I have some sample money still to spend from her. I really, again, I want to support the people I want to support. Yes, I have a lot of yarn. If you're here to judge me, you don't have to make a comment. You can do that silently in your head, but I don't really care. This is my hobby and my money, and I am not spending irresponsibly for my income in life, and so I feel okay with it. But yeah, I'm excited to have some more Throne of Glass, and also because I'm like, oh gosh, it makes me want to reread looking at these colors, which I just did that this summer, but I also may just reread when I start making 1 or 2 of the sweaters that I have plans for. I don't know what I'm gonna make yet, so if anybody has great ideas or they're planning to buy from this, I want to know what you're picking, because there's so many good tonals, so many. The variegateds are really pretty so far too, but I think there's only been 2 that's released. And so I'm going to withhold what I think about my favorites on that front. But I'm in trouble. So we'll see. We'll see what I decide. That's all for knitting related things. I hope that y'all have a really nice long weekend if you're here in the States, or even if you just got Thursday off, maybe you can decompress after family stuff. I hope you had fun. Listen to me chat through projects this week. I will give you more updates next week. We are rolling right into December. Yeah, we have 4 or 5 episodes left for the year. So we're going to start talking goals, recap, stats. All those things really happen in January, but goals maybe before. So yeah, and just I'm going to be not sprinting to the end. I'm going to just do what I can do. But I would love to have my make 9 complete for myself, at least, because that was a really big goal this year. Because even though I did a make 12 last year, and I think I made 10, I had 2 make 9s this year, and I did quite a lot of the guest one, or of the gift one. So it'd be nice to accomplish one. Tell me, as we roll into the end of the year, what goals do people have? I know a couple of you have shared a couple of weeks ago when I started thinking about this. I've got some more that I'm thinking about, but top of mind for me are a single skein project list, or at least picking the skeins out, and then so it might be socks, it might not be socks, it might be little shawlettes and hats and mitts and other things like that. So it's sort of an accessories category. And because I have hats planned and I just never prioritize them, that's a big reason. I might make 5 Manhattan hats. Don't come at me next year if that could happen. I make no promises otherwise. But I do also have the deep idea of at least a make 9 of old. And I don't know what I'll categorize old, but I think it'll be pre-2023 yarn. That is maybe what I'm going to reach for. I'm going to look to see how many that maybe is not 9, so maybe I have to adjust that, but that's going to be something I think about. So I want to know what you're thinking. What have you been working on? Tell me all the things. I will put up very soon, make no promises for this week because it's a little chaosy, but a December knit and chat. I would like to do it a little bit early in the month, so I will try to get that up ASAP because the end of the year is just a mess. We didn't have a ton of people this last time. It was so nice catching up with people. I don't care if just 2 of you show up or 1 of you. We can just have a one-on-one. It's really nice to just spend a little time, set a time aside for myself to just be there and help build this community a little bit. I know the yarn community is big and there's lots of places that you can get fulfilled from that. But if you're especially in a place where you just like don't have a lot of knitting friends that live nearby you and it's convenient for you to join, we keep it very casual and it's super fun to just chat and see what people are working on, etc. So this time we spent a lot of time talking about books actually, and that was really, really also fun for me. So I had a great time. If anybody ever wants to buddy read something with me, if I talk about a series ahead of time, I don't often give you guys the heads up because I just get these from the library a lot. But if you ever want to follow along with what I'm reading, you can find me on Storygraph. But you could always tell me, hey, I'm reading a series, and I could try to catch up to you. So I'm also there for that. One of the books that we talked about was really fun is Hannah, one of our watchers, read her first Becca Mac book, and it was also great for her. So I feel like it's nice when a recommendation goes well. It doesn't always happen. We're all different people. We have different feelings about narrators and books and tropes and all the things. So yeah, that was fun. Just like not everyone's gonna love the same patterns or the same yarn or the same combo of those things. And so that's always like a fun thing to see, like how you come out in it or what you love about the story or whatever. So yeah. Anyway, now I'm rambling and I need to go to bed. So it was really fun talking to you. I will talk to you next week. I hope that you have a good one. Bye.